Mike Pence is starting a podcast. I called it. It was one of the things that leading up to the election, I kept asking everybody, what do you think Mike Pence is going to do afterwards? And me knowing that he came from radio, I figured he would start a podcast. Returning to his radio roots after 22 years, the former vice president will launch a podcast in the coming months, hosted by the Young America's Foundation, a conservative youth organization dating back to the 1960s. Pence will join YAF as the group's first Ronald Reagan presidential scholar, and is expected to become a regular member of its campus lecture circuit once it's safe to resume such events. Now, one of the things I didn't know about, I knew Mike Pence had a radio show. I didn't know that Mike Pence had a TV show.
Calling all pundits and mavens, put down that remote because the Mike Pence Show is on the air. Indie TV presents 30 minutes.
I am not stoned enough for this. We're going to watch a few minutes of it.
Cool topics. And a host whose wife picks out his tie for every show.
Mom picks out his tie. Or mother. He calls her mother, doesn't he?
Welcome to the Mike Pence Show. Where were you at precisely 12 o'clock noon this past Tuesday? Chances are you'll never forget watching this.
Where was I at 12 o'clock noon this past Tuesday? Almost certainly sitting in this chair, right? Probably editing a podcast or some shit. Maybe laying on the couch drinking. At noon, I might still be drinking coffee. They are grifters, absolutely. But you are really going to enjoy this because this motherfucker thinks he's Dave Letterman or some shit.
This.
Superior Court of California County.
Oh God! Oh fuck!
People of the state of California.
I remember exactly where I was when this happened. I was in 6th fucking grade. And I remember my fucking teachers fucking, when they announced the not guilty verdict, her goddamn jaw hit the floor. I remember exactly where I was when this happened. I do not remember where I was this past Tuesday.
Versus Orenthal James Simpson, case number BA097211. We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant Orenthal James Simpson not guilty of the crime of murder in violation of Penal Code Section 187.
OJ has been vaccinated.
Simpson, a human being, as charged in count 1 of the information.
It's the Chewbacca defense.
In the above entitled action, find the defendant Orenthal James Simpson not guilty of the crime of murder in violation of Penal Code Section 187A, a felony upon Ronald Lyle Goldman, a human being, as charged in count 2 of the information.
If anybody hasn't watched the American Crime Story with John Travolta,
whether you agreed or
and
disagreed,
I forget who all else was in it. It's really fucking good.
Simpson would walk out of that courtroom a free man. So what will the verdict mean for Hoosiers? Did a guilty man go free, or was a corrupt system exposed? Will juries in Indiana respond to racial politics in the future? O.J. Simpson, the Indiana verdict. For my part, I saw race as a non-issue. The issue was murder, 2 counts.
Yeah, this guy doesn't see race.
History of spousal abuse and the blood evidence was more than enough to overcome the reasonable doubt about his guilt. But, you know, I'm less troubled about one guilty man going free than I am about a system.
Race couldn't possibly play. For those of you who are unaware, LA had just like been engulfed in riots a couple of years earlier before this trial. So race riots? No.
System that seems to have lost all credibility with a distinct part of our population. The question now, it seems, is how does our criminal justice system win back the faith of all the American people? As always, we'll look at the issue from both sides. First up is Professor Henry Carlson of IU's Law School to argue for the prosecution. And later, David Shaheed, former president of the Marion County Bar Association, will give us a more pro-defense view. Also, Peter Rustoven and Michael Gradison will slug out the issues in our bullpen, and we'll even hear from our own answer to Court TV, Reed Duffy.
Very correct.
For you indie TV viewers suffering from OJ withdrawal, here's the top 5 things OJ addicts will do now that the trial is over.
He's gonna do a top 5 list.
Open their mail. Number 4, relearn the names of immediate family members. Number 3, check the expiration dates on items in the fridge. Number 2, find out who this Newt fella is. And the number 1 thing that you OJ addicts will do now that the trial is over is take the kids to see that big new hit movie, The Lion King. OJ Simpson.
Christian comedy, everybody. Oh, he cracked himself up. Look at him. He's so proud of himself.
This is perhaps the biggest thing that's happened in any case in this country in this decade.
Did you plant or manufacture any evidence in this case?
I assert my Fifth Amendment privilege.
This is not now the Furman trial. This is a trial about the man that murdered my son.
Welcome back to the Mike Pence Show. Welcome back to the Mike Pence Show.
I love it. I love it.
As we begin this
It's amateur hour over here.
verdict by one of the leading authorities on criminal law.
Welcome back to the Mike Pence Show. What? Hold up, what? I was getting ready to... Yes. That's Mike Pence. That was his TV show. We were playing this because Mike Pence is getting ready to start his own podcast. And I knew he was a radio host and actually heard some of his work. I did not know he was a TV host until about 2 hours ago. So I wanted to share that with you guys because that was very cringe.